Today I'm going to show you the most important thing to know when you want to go out and ride your bike. And that is how to change your inner tube when you get a flat tire. So one thing I always recommend taking with you is a saddlebag, or at least the content of this saddlebag. So I will take this one off. So you could also put this in the back pocket of your cycling jersey if you want to. But it's sometimes more convenient to put it here and to leave it there, because then you have more space in the pockets of your jersey to put food and your phone, etc. So I will just open this up, show what is inside. So the most important thing is your spare tube. So this is the one that you need in case you have a flat tire and you want to interchange your tube. Then you need some tire levers. So ideally you have two, it could also be three, but one might not be enough. So try to take at least two with you. Then I also always bring a multi-tool. So this is a tool that has some Allen keys and some really basic tools that you need to do some repairs, basic repairs on the road for your bike. And then the last thing I have always with me in this saddlebag is a tube repair kit. In the worst case, when you flat again, or when you didn't repair your tube in the right way, then you should always be able to repair your tube. Otherwise you won't be able to make it home. So let's start repairing the flat tire. So if you have a flat tire, you will feel it, the air will go out. Sometimes everything is out at once. Sometimes you have still some air left. So the first thing you need to do is take out your wheel. I expect everybody to know how to do that. The front is really easy. The rear is a little bit more difficult. If it's on the rear, make sure that you move the chain all the way to the outside, because then it's easy to take your wheel out. Otherwise your rear delayer will be in the way, so you won't be able to move your wheel out. My bike has disc brakes. That's recently the most standard type of brakes. So some disc brake bikes, they have also a quick release, but most of them, they have actually an Allen key closure. So it means that you absolutely need this tool to take out your wheel on the road. So then I just take a different wheel. This is from another bike. So you have a flat tire, so you can feel it. Okay, it's flat. This one is not completely flat, but it's at least the air will go out after a while. So then the first thing you do is you open up this this part here. You just open it up all the way. You push it with your thumb, and then you can hear the air escape. And just push as much as you can for almost all the air to go out, because then it's easier to take off the tire. And then start on the opposite side of this, the valve it's called, on the opposite side. You take your two tire levers, and then you just go like this. You put one underneath, then you hold this with your hand. Then you go a little bit further like this. You put the other one underneath, and then you use both hands to take off the tire from the rim. So then you have this space. You can leave this one in. You can also attach it to your spoke if you like, but you can just use your thumb. You can put this one inside, and then you just go like this. This one is now not needed anymore. And then you just go all the way around the rim to take off the tire. So then when the tire is off from one side, you can leave it like this, and then you can actually take out the inner tube. So you just take it out like this all the way around until you're here at the valve. And then when you're here, you can just take your tire like this and then just take it out the entire tube. So then normally what you will do now is you will put this tube away, because it's flattened. So you have a hole, mostly it will be one hole, could be more holes. So you just fold it together like this in a nice way. Sorry. So like this, you fold it together, and then you just, when all the air is out, it's even more compact. And then you can either put it back in your saddlebag or you put it in your back pocket. Please don't throw this away, because we of course don't want to litter, and also we want to be sustainable. These tubes, you can actually reuse them. So when you come at home, you can actually repair them with this type of kit, which I will explain in a minute. So then this is gone. Then you take your new tube, you open it up, you take off this small plastic top or cap. That one you don't need, so you can also put it in your back pocket. And then you will end up, I will not use this one now because it's a new one. I will use this one again. So then this is how the tube will look like. So you take out this plastic cap and also the aluminium ring. You don't need those, so you can just put them away. Then it's always important that you bring a mini pump. So I just take now a little bit a larger model. This is quite big. So when I go on big tours, like several hundred kilometers and I'm quite far away from home, I always take this one because it's just much more safe. So then usually I also have a little bit a bigger back, or I put it on my frame. That's also possible because you just want to have a very reliable pump. When I go on a shorter trip, I take a smaller one, but sometimes you cannot put the same amount of air inside and it's not as reliable. And also you can have, as an alternative, CO2 pumps, which is like a small canister of CO2, and you can actually blow the air inside, the CO2 inside of your tube in a very fast pace, but also that might not work on the road. So that's why a traditional pump is always the most and safest and most reliable option. So then you have your tube, so it's a new tube, it's still empty, so it's important that you put a little bit of air inside. That can be just a tiny little bit. This is to avoid having a flat puncture while installing the tire. So if it's completely flat, it might be more vulnerable, so it's always better to have a little bit of air inside. Then you take back your wheel. Always go with your hand on the inside of your tire, just go all the way around like this, and feel if you don't feel anything, because the reason that you get your flat tire, it could be because of you hitting like a bump or hitting a rock, but it could also be that there's something actually inside of your tire that came through. So of course you need to take that out first, otherwise you will get a new puncture immediately. So check it, and when you feel okay, there's nothing going on, you also see on the outside there's nothing really there, you could clean the tire a little bit with your gloves or with like something you brought with you, a small towel or whatever. And then when everything is clean, it's ready to go, then you find again the opening of the valve. So it's here, so that's the opening. You open this tire so that you can easily see the valve. You take the valve here and you just put it through. So it goes all the way through here. And then, like I said, you just have a little bit of air in there, that's enough. Then you start working from this side. So you just go like this. You put the tube inside of the tire, nicely like this. And then you just start working from this side. And you just put the tire back on. So the older your tire, the easier this will go, because the tire will be worn out a little bit, so it will be stretched out, so it will be easier. If you have a very new tire, it might sometimes be more difficult to get this one on. And then in the end, you will see this part is quite tight. So if you are practiced, you can actually do it with your hands like this. So you take this hand and then you just use both of your thumbs like this to put it on, put the tire on. If this is too tight, then you can also use again your tire lever, but be very careful when you do this, when you put it on, to not puncture the tire. So that's just important, that the tube, I mean, don't puncture the tube with this tire lever. That could always happen, so be really careful. Then once you have everything in, just check here that the tube is not in between the tire and the rim. So the tube should be inside of the tire, not in between here, the rim and the tire. So then just go around very quickly to see is everything fine. If everything is fine, then you can just pump up the tire. So this pump, like I said, it's a really reliable one. So it has a lot more air that can go through. But also with a mini pump, this will definitely work. And then this is a little bit on feel. So you should just pump in the air. This pump is a little bit a special model, so it has also an indication of how much bar or how much pressure is inside of the tire. Your normal regular mini pump will not have that. So then you just have to feel with your thumb like this. And you just have to keep on pushing, pushing, pushing. So that's a good exercise halfway your ride to feel until you are confident that there is enough pressure inside. So always better to have a little bit more pressure than you would expect than to have not enough, because if the tire is too flat, you might get a new flat tire immediately. So try to really put enough air inside. So now when I push with my thumbs, I feel okay, there's quite enough air. So then you just take it off, close the valve again. So close it really tightly with your fingers like this. Make sure that no air is escaping. And then you just put your wheel back in your bike and you're ready to go. So that's it. So all the best and enjoy your ride.